Hello, Clive.
Hello,
Hello,
Bill.
Clive.
How you doing?
Good. This is editor Bill Hernandez with rockbandreviews.com in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. How are you doing today?
Good, thank you so much. It's really warm over here at the moment. I don't know what it's like over there.
I think it's about 93 right now.
It's, yeah, it's cool. I love it.
Awesome. Hey, well, we're really looking forward to seeing you this Friday night at Honey in Delray Beach. A
Yep,
fantastic little venue, and I think we're going to have an overflowing crowd there.
that'd be great if it is. Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, I'll be coming in tomorrow and having a bit of a rest during the day on Friday, and then I'm really, really looking forward to the show. I've not played Honeys before, but I believe it's fantastic.
It is a very fantastic place. I think you're really going to enjoy it.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much.
Now, I wanted to know, like in the beginning, at what point in your life did you know that you wanted to make music a part of your life, both personally and professionally?
When I was 12,
Hmm.
the school took us to see the Halle Orchestra, which is a very famous orchestra in Manchester, and they did Swan Lake without the ballet. It was all the music from Swan Lake, and I was sat right in front of all the bass instruments, where all the cellos are and the double basses and everything else, and it hit me right in the chest. And right from that point onwards, I knew I wanted to make a business out of music, if you like.
Hmm.
But I played drums from the age of 5. I started playing drums at the age of 5. Um, and I got kind of quite proficient on the drums, and then I started work at an engineering factory, and a guy was in a band there. The foreman at the factory needed a bass player because his bass player was ill. So I says, oh, I'll do it. So I nipped out to Woolworths, bought myself a $30 bass guitar, had them transpose all the songs into E, A, D, or G, so I didn't have to mess around with the left hand. Played open strings on bass, and then I got into the bass and started and learned the bass. Um, and getting into vocals was kind of by default, if you like. We formed When in Rome, and I became the lead singer for When in Rome, having been the backing vocalist, if you like, for a band called Bow Leisure before When in Rome.
Now,
Yeah.
now, as you said, you started your career very, very young at 5 as a drummer. Then you picked up the bass guitar. So
Yeah.
basically, it seems like you're self-taught on those instruments.
Absolutely, yeah. I lived with them. They were like my best friends, you know. I mean,
Yeah.
especially the bass. I used to watch television playing the bass, and obviously not plugged into any amplifiers or anything like that. I used to just hold it to my ear, the body of the bass guitar, and it really got off on the vibrations from it as well. I love the bass guitar, and I learned to play that way by watching my favourite TV shows and playing bass at the same time. Um, but as I say, my first experience of playing bass was all open strings. I didn't really have to do anything with my left hand because they transposed all the songs for me, so that I didn't have to mess around with the left hand. But I can't say whether that's my favourite instrument over the bass, over the drums, but I would definitely say the bass end of the spectrum is where I'm at.
Mm. Now, as a kid back then, who were some of the musical artists you were listening to that may have had a hand in shaping your musical style?
Definitely David Bowie.
Hmm.
Definitely Roxy Music, Brian Ferry, Roxy Music. Simple Minds, the Human League,
Nice.
Heaven 17. All the new up and coming electric bands were the bands that I was into. Kraftwerk. So I was more on the electronic side of things.
Well, those bands are certainly in my top 50 of bands of all time. So I think we both
Cool.
have some really good musical taste.
Perfect. Thank you.
Now, of course, your voice is also your instrument. What do you do, if anything, to maintain your vocals?
Um, it's a very, very difficult one, that, because I tend not to practice before, although I've started to do it a little bit more now, where, like pushing them a little bit before I go on stage, just to stretch them a little bit, which really, really, really works. But I tend to save my voice as much as possible for the occasion, and there's not many. Being in the position that I am now, I'm in a very, very, very lucky position in that I've been in the business long enough now to be lucky enough to not do these shows where they run from day to day for 2 weeks. I do like 2 or 3 shows and then have a rest for a while, so it's not like I'm pushing my voice to the extreme. So I'm in a lucky position to be able to save the voice between shows. But I am always a little nervous. That is the only thing that I get nervous about before I go on stage, whether the voice is going to hold up and stuff like that. But touch wood, it seems to hold up.
Now, of course, the birth of When in Rome began some 30-some years ago, and since that time, the band has been synonymous with one of the biggest songs of the latter part of the 1980s, and of course, the song I'm speaking of course, is The Promise. What were those early days of When in Rome like for you?
I don't think we really, because we were very, again, I class myself as we were all very, very lucky to have not only signed one record deal. We signed to Elektra at first. We signed 2 record deals. We signed to Virgin next. And the reason why we didn't stay with Elektra is because they opened offices in London for about a month. They were open for about a month, signed us, and then went back. They closed their offices in London, and all the operations went back to America. And it was very, very difficult for us to deal with them being 8 hours difference. We were upside down. Sure. So we decided in the end that because Virgin was still interested from the first, because we did showcases for both. Not only for Virgin and Elektra, but for a lot of other companies. But Virgin had stayed interested while we were still signed with Elektra, and they bought us out of the Elektra deal, and the rest is history, as it were.
Now, after signing with Virgin Records, you then released the self-titled record in May of 1988. Now, that album was anchored by The Promise and Heaven Knows, and beyond those songs, there's 8 other songs that are amazing as well. To me, it's a very cohesive, well put together album. What was it like putting it together?
It was great. What was really great about the album is because there was 3 of us, and there was 3 of us with all different tastes. The closest taste, I was more close to Andrew as far as musical taste was concerned, and Mike, our ex-keyboard player, was more into rock, pop, if you like. Andrew and I were into Northern Soul, Tamla Motown, and then consequently all the electronic bands that came through. So it was a real democracy, if you like, and we all had our own ideas, and that was the reason why. The Promise does sound out as being a different tune on the album, because there was no real drums used on it. We used drum machines and bass machines and stuff like that. Whereas all of the other tracks had real instruments on them, and we were lucky enough to work with some great people. Preston Heyman from the Kate Bush Band played drums. We had Phil Spalding on bass, who's with the Toy Wilcox Band, and many others. And we worked with a lot of. We had Robin Jones on percussion, who's a very, very famous Brazilian percussion player. And we were just lucky enough, and we had the chance to play with the London Philharmonic as well, at least a part of the London Philharmonic on the string versions of the songs.
Wow.
It was a fantastic experience, and to be in a great studio. We were in the Power Plant in London, which was owned by Robin Miller. And I don't know whether you know this, but the album prior to our album, before we recorded our album at the Power Plant, Diamond Life by Sade was recorded there.
Oh wow, I did not know that.
Yeah, absolutely, and hence the reason why we wanted Robin Miller to produce us. Unfortunately, because of the success of Diamond Life for him, he was not available, so we had Ben Rogan produce us, who was the engineer for the Diamond Life album.
But look what happened with that. It's fantastic.
Absolutely. I just think we were a little bit extravagant, let's put it that way. I think we were a little bit extravagant as far as recording the album was concerned, because we recorded most of the instrumentation at the power plant. Then we went to a place called Linford Manor to record the vocals. We did some stuff at Townhouse. Then we flew out to America and we recorded 3 tracks with Richard Burgess in a place called Sound Control in Santa Monica. So we were there for 6 weeks. And they sent us out 6 weeks prior to recording, so we were all having a bit of a run around Hollywood. They'd hired us a car and stuff, so we were in we're in dream world, if you like, at that time.
Yeah.
yeah. And being young at the time, it was, I don't think we cared what went on as far as the money was concerned, so we just spent all of our money on recording the album, and hopefully it comes through as, hopefully the sound comes through as, the quality of sound is that such that you can tell that it's been recorded at some good places.
Yes. Now,
Yeah.
What was the songwriting formula for you and Andrew Mann? Did he write the lyrics and you the music, or?
Yeah, on all of the songs, and it's still the case now on our new stuff, is that I would write the first verse and the chorus. So I'd write the main bulk of the song. Where, for instance, The Promise, I wrote the first verse, if you need a friend, blah, 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 and then we go into I'm sorry, but I'm just thinking. So I'd write those 2 parts, and then Andrew would write the second verse. So Andrew would be when your day is through and so is your temper, you know what to do, I'll always be there. That's Andrew's lyric, the second verse. And that was the same on every song that we did.
Nice. Now, you have traveled all over the world and have played thousands of tour dates. Is there a special concert moment that stands out for you?
Well, you know what? The one that we've just done is one that stands out for me. We just played the San Jose Shark Tank, which is because I used to play hockey. I played for 2 teams, and weirdly enough, Altrincham is quite famous for its hockey teams, where I'm from in Cheshire. And it's the first time that I've ever played a hockey venue, and we got to see the back of the scenes and everything else, and it was great, and it holds about 15,000 people, and it was full to capacity. So I would say last weekend was, and the 2 shows last weekend were really good. We did one on Friday night at the Orleans Arena in Las Vegas, and then the night after we did San Jose, the SAP Center, which is where the San Jose Sharks play.
Fantastic. Final question, is there any new material in the works?
Yeah, I've been writing since I've been out here. I went back to the UK over Christmas just this last time, and then I came back in February and I wrote a tune for a film called Tournament that comes out October the 1st is going to be the first showing in California. So I'm going to be going to that, to the opening, and we're doing the song, Pancho and I, Pancho wrote my keyboard player, musical director, Pancho wrote all the music for the film, and we both wrote a song for the main theme. So I came back in February, and we finished that off, recorded that, and since I've been here, I've been staying in Southern California, and every day I've been working on tunes. I've got about 33 ideas. So, and Andrew's just been with me as well, so he's been listening to some of the stuff that I've been doing. So he's taken some of that back to. He went back to London today, so he'll be taking some of that stuff back with him to work on some lyrics, and hopefully we can add. In fact, we do add a track. There's a track called Lost that we do in the new set, which is from the new material.
So we'll be able to hear that Friday night, maybe?
Yeah, not on Friday night. I'm going to just stick with the When in Rome songs on Friday night, just to... I don't want to take a chance on Friday. I'll just keep to the When in Rome tunes, I think.
Very good. Clive, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule. And again, we're looking forward to seeing you at Honey this Friday night. I believe everything starts at 7 p.m. and ends at 11 p.m. I'm not sure what time you go on, but we will certainly be there in full support. And I've never seen you perform live before, so I'm really, really excited.
Thank you so much. I'm really looking forward to it and looking forward to meet everybody there.